everybody, to the Bar Talk Podcast, your hospitality support group. We are based out of Plymouth, Massachusetts, the South Shore. I am joined today, always, by my co-host, Karl.
Hello, everybody.
And joining us as well, again, is Dan Mahoney of the British Beer Company.
What up?
And we are lucky enough to be joined again today by Mr. J. Kill, local musician and baker.
Holla at your boy.
And the, I don't even know what your fucking title is anymore.
My title?
Yeah, what's your title, Jimmy?
I'm the assistant tasting room manager.
Assistant tasting room manager.
Extraordinary.
His flair is unparalleled of the Mayflower Brewery, located right here in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Plymouth's first brewery. And, Jimmy.
That's me.
How's the biz, bro?
Good. It's been a good year. 2018's been huge for us so far.
What's huge about it?
Huge about it? We remodeled the tasting room actually about a year ago. So March 2017 we opened. We opened officially with our remodel. So we've got a ton more space, ton more stuff to do. We've doubled our draft list, so we have a lot more availability in terms of beer. But it's just been a good year in general. It's our first year starting out with a fresh, brand new tap room, and it seems like we are busy almost every single day compared to the past. You know, it's much more of a destination point than it ever used to be, I think.
So the remodel's working out?
Remodel's working out huge. You know, it's not even like you just notice a lot more people in general coming back. Like for me, where I'm there all the time, like I notice a lot more people coming back, like regulars that we didn't have a year ago compared to people.
What is it about the atmosphere before? You would say,
you know, I wouldn't say the atmosphere was bad before, but I think, you know, we have a lot more space. It's a lot more availability to seating and stuff compared to like you can just go sit in the other room and do your own thing. Like, people come in with laptops during the day and just, you know, go and do like business meetings and stuff in the corner on like a Wednesday afternoon when it's not super busy compared to like weekends where you'll see every table full and you know. But you'll see groups talking and everything, and it's all just good vibes and flow, and a lot of people want to come in and try some beers and do tours of the brew house and everything, which is myself. If you ever come in, you'll do a tour guide with me personally, and it's been a good year so far, and hopefully we can keep it going with some cool events. Like my buddy J. Kill just played on Saturday, along with Mountain Weekend, who's a good band we've had in a few different times. We do live music occasionally, and
chugging a beer with
he's chugging a beer with the pinky up right now. But yeah, no, they put on a good set last Saturday. We had a decent turnout for a busy summertime where people are hitting the beach and a lot of other events. Levitate.
Now you guys are a what you call a tap room, not a brew pub, correct? And
we are not a brew pub. I guess
tell us a little bit about what the difference between those two are.
I guess the definition of a brew pub would be including food, like any pub, I suppose, but. We're a tap room. We don't do food. We do some little bar snacks and stuff. You can get a bag of pretzels or something if you need it, if you need something to snack on. But we also work with different vendors. So we have food trucks and different catering companies come in and do food, which is nice because we do a lot of different variety and such compared to, you know, a restaurant that, you know, maybe trying to, you know, you might go in and you see the same menu and stuff, but we go everything from like we'll have taco truck to like barbecue some weekends and stuff. So it's cool. We do a lot of different variety when it comes to food vendors and stuff, and it's not all the time. There is days that we definitely only do beer and bar snacks, but we do have a whole website on our website, mayflowerbrewing.com, where you can check full calendar of events, all the events and food vendors that we have coming in all simultaneously. So,
all right. So you serve no food, but you have food trucks.
We do not have our own kitchen, no.
All right. So
no kitchen.
So why would people come to the Mayflower Brewery, the tap room, rather than Speedwell Tavern, the New World Tavern?
Yeah, Speedwell and New World specifically, of course.
Now, is it because you can offer a lot more
British Beer Company?
Yeah, British Beer Company.
So
you guys have some nice chips, man. I'll tell you right now. Too, you know? We're kidding
Dan knows a thing or two about bar snacks, so he knows how it goes. But it's a good question, Karl. We always keep our core year-round beers on that are always available to you guys if you ever want to serve them at your establishment. But we do a good amount of taproom exclusives that are only available to us. We do a few nitro variants that we actually just started sending out to only, you know, a few accounts that appreciate, such as yourselves. But occasionally we'll do beers that you can only get there at the brewery, which, not to like feel like we're shorting you guys or anything, but it's cool. It makes it more of like a destination point. You're like, oh, I want to go, I want to try this beer. But we also do samples and flights of our own personal beers. You know, we serve up to 15, 16 beers at a time. So our variety changes almost week to week to week to week. We've had a lot of new stuff coming out this year compared to like our core year-round beers. So
now, there's one thing I noticed about the tap room when I walk in.
What's that?
Which I'm not that kind of person, so I'm going to tell you right now, it drives me nuts.
Tell it.
But I'll go down there and have a couple of drinks anyway. I notice you let pets in, which is kind of unusual.
We are
for any place you want to go in and get a couple.
Well, they don't serve food.
I think it's a huge part of the
either there's a BBC, but you can't have a dog in there.
I've seen dogs.
Or can you?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of girls hanging out with you. I'll tell you right now.
My philosophy is that we let you and Karl.
I'm not gonna touch that.
We are pet friendly, Karl, and I personally think I'm a huge dog guy myself. I'm a huge animal lover, and I think it's great. Almost 99% of the time, it's 100% like such a good time. You know, you walk in, you get in a beer, and you see this adorable dog, and you're like, oh, it's like, I'm gonna pet this guy. You know what I mean? But you know, every once in a while, you get the people that it's not a dog that should be in a place like that. And to me, one of the most infuriating things is when it's a dog that blatantly doesn't want to be there. The dog's not enjoying himself. Whether it's bothering the other people, that's one thing. But like, and that does happen too. We've had a few people that aren't thrilled about it, like you said. You know, it's not necessarily your thing. But for the most part, they keep to themselves more than people. I'll tell you that right now. There's much more obnoxious people. There's much more obnoxious people, Karl, such as yourself, but than the dogs. But
stop licking his own balls.
And yeah, honestly, I've seen some dogs come in. You know,
If I do that, I wouldn't be at the Mayflower Brewery. I'd be on Pornhub.com.
Jake Hill's here.
But you know, every once in a while there's a little discrepancy. But honestly, it's like I said, the dogs cause less trouble than people. I'd say nine times out of 10.
So you're telling me I can shit on the floor and I'll be welcome back?
Well,
I have actually, you know, I've been in the tap room for a year and a half. I've yet to have a dog shit on the floor, and I'll probably jinx that, and it'll happen this week.
Humans?
What time are you working?
How many humans? None.
Yeah. You know about.
And I feel like I'm jinxing both of those things. It'll probably happen now, but who knows? Yeah, it's.
Have you ever had to remove?
I've removed like a drunken dog. Be like, you gotta
get it.
I've definitely, and you know, it's unfortunate, but I've definitely had to ask a few people to at least, you know, your dog, whether you want to leave or not is one thing, but your dog can't stay. Just for the sake of like
but you know the dog's not driving.
Right, but
I know the dog's not driving. It has nothing to do with that,
Jordan.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's scared. You know, I mean, you guys know dogs. It's more the scared dogs that. And yeah, it's like a lot of the times, you know, it's like I said, it's people. You know, they might come in and see people bring their dogs, and it might not be the right place for their dog. You know, because a lot of the times it's busy, and that's not. Dogs aren't used to that kind of stuff. You know, it might be a great dog at home. It might be the sweetest dog you've ever met, but it comes in, and so. But like I said, it's very few and far between. 9 times out of 10, it's great.
Does anybody bring anything but a dog? Anybody bring a cat?
Cataguan.
I actually had no. I've yet to have anything too weird. I had this one guy say he was gonna bring his goldfish in, and I was like, I don't know about that.
Can you replace the water with goldfish?
Yeah. This guy Rob was like, I'm gonna bring my my goldfish in, and I was like, hey, honestly, do what you gotta do, but.
You are.
I don't know you, but you're an ass.
Forget about the title, but you are a bartender at Mayflower Brewery.
Yeah, I'm
bartending is your main
full-time bartender.
We've had conversations.
Glorified bartender is what I like to call it.
So we've had conversations in other iPod podcasts.
Yeah. This is an AM radio, if you didn't know that.
It's AM?
No, we might be
So
streaming
my
on
mask
AM. Yeah, 1080 AM. You can get this whole
Nice.
stream.
So, listen,
boys,
so everybody's, don't worry about the antenna, it doesn't matter. Tinfoil.
Is it R an antenna?
Yeah, antenna.
Antenna?
Yeah. Unless it's
Okay.
two. Then it's antenna.
You're fucking Jerry Remy, dude. Booker Jemer.
So you can't smoke.
No, you can't smoke inside the
Can you
brewery. Is
vape?
that what you're asking?
Can you vape?
No, you can't vape. And I don't even know if that's like a legal thing or what, but I also just don't want you to do it inside of my tap room. Like, do you guys let people vape in your bar?
No, but I don't let dogs in either. I thought maybe,
Because you can't,
What kind of bar
because
do
you
you
gotta.
Yeah.
The health board won't let you.
Wait, you let Jake Hill in, but you won't let people vape?
I let Jake Hill in.
Yo, I vape in there all the time.
Jake, you don't vape in there. Jake, you know damn well I'd kick you out of your vaping.
I'll tell you right now, Jake, that's not vape.
I don't vape. It's just residual smoke coming
Yeah,
out.
he doesn't
of my
even
ears.
vape
It's
either.
not too long.
Yeah.
Comes in with that leather jacket.
That ain't vape.
No, it's funny you bring up the vaping thing. Do you guys actually?
Well, it is legal to vape in a bar.
Is it legal?
Yes.
And do you allow it?
No, I
It's because it's
Oh.
just
I don't think it's legal.
No, it is.
for now. It is legal
Is it
right now.
really?
Yeah.
It's
But
all
we
Do you guys allow it or what?
No fucking way.
we ask people not to do it.
Because it can be
But
drug
it is-
filled.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Drug filled.
Oh, yeah, oh, of course, yeah.
It's like coming into a brownie.
Stoners.
Coming into a brownie. Going into
I mean, you don't know if it's got the TNT in there or the
TNT. Yeah, the
Coming
TNT.
into a
You don't know.
PET.
Yeah.
You
You never know what's in those things.
Just think about who's running it. It's like
No, I agree with you on
it's
that.
the tobacco companies running it. It's like that shit is definitely worse than cigarettes.
Oh, probably.
Right. It's probably
more
just concentrated
chemicals.
nicotine.
I mean, whatever. Cigarettes
Yeah,
are
but it
the
tastes
worst.
like cherries.
Everybody knows that, but like this is the new cigarettes.
I don't know if it's worse.
I guarantee they're worse.
It's definitely not
So
good
cigarettes
for
are
you.
really bad. Jake, you smoke?
I smoke. Yeah, I've smoked since I was.
You smoke pretty
21.
much anything you can, right?
I smoke. I
Pretty much.
Most things.
Yeah, I
Like
smoked
anything you
weed
can.
and cigarettes. I smoked crack once in college, unknowingly. And I stayed
that
up
guy
for
was really
3.5
pissed.
days. 3.5 days. I smoked it
How
with.
was it?
No, I smoked it
It
with
was shitty.
members of the Arizona Diamondbacks, pitchers. When I was 19, they
Get
were
the fuck
spring
out of here.
training, dude. Oh my god, my
Wait,
college
Kurt
years-
Schilling? Randy
No,
Johnson?
no, these were like whatever third string pitchers are, but like these dudes
alright.
hard.
They stayed in third string.
And they're like, yo, just smoke cocaine. I was like, all right, I don't know if I have to do that, but I'm already partying. It's like mansion party with all these like
You don't
Major
have
League
to.
Baseball players. And then I smoked the wrong thing. I was like, wow.
Wow,
So
that's
2
how
days
you
later,
know 98 miles per hour.
I didn't know that was a guy.
And that's
These
why
guys
Jimmy doesn't want
party.
vape in the brewery.
But you know who?
Yeah.
You know who's
So
partying
anyway,
more
so
than that?
Jimmy, back to the brewery.
Yeah,
I
back to the
don't
brewery,
know
no
about
more,
this guy.
no more crack, but
That was only one time.
Also, no crack at the brewery.
Hey, Jake.
yeah, no crack.
So
Yeah.
you guys are not
Sorry.
open late.
We close at the latest we're ever open is on normal hours is 9 o'clock on Fridays.
So
Perfect.
with no food,
Yep.
do you find yourself shutting a lot of people off, or is that not an issue?
No, I don't. I don't find that to be much of an issue. The only time I ever run into stuff like that is where we do all-day events. Where or Karl, like
Oh, we play quarters.
unfortunately had to shut Karl off a few times. It wasn't pretty, but
Put him on that too.
What do you mean it
Yeah.
freaks out?
you know, the once or twice Karl was one thing, but but no, the only time we ever really run into that is we'll do like 5K races where we'll have like I think the most we ever had was like 1,100 people for our 5K on St. Patrick's Day. And people love to like come. You get like one free pint with the race and stuff, but people have to hang like all day after like running a 5K
And they're not.
and not eating and all that stuff. So that's
They're all vaping outside.
and they're all vaping outside. No, but that's I don't think that that's anything that I run into a lot, especially where we don't. You know, most of our beers aren't super high alcohol content. We don't serve liquor at all, so it's much different than you know what you guys do, where you think hard alcohol and beer, or it's a little easier to pace yourself on beer, I guess is what I should say.
Do you think you have a quicker turnover for guests than like we would in a bar where? I've seen people sit there hours. I mean, Karl. At the brewery.
Quicker turnover. We'll get some in and outers. We'll have people come in, try a flight, maybe grab a 6-pack or 12 on the way out and stuff, compared to people that want to stay for a while. But honestly, like for me, I've never even had like a super bad like I need to cut this guy off and he's like pissed off about it. Like I've shut plenty of people off, but every
upset. You're always upset.
Karl, you probably put on the biggest stink out of anybody that I've ever had to deal with. But, most people, like, 9 times, it like I say, 9 times out of 10, but it's like, they're okay with that. They're like, all right, you're right.
So that's just one of the big differences between what you do and Jordan and I and Dan do is you serve beer, we serve beer. We have alcohol, you don't.
Yeah.
We have food except for Dan. You don't.
Yep.
So why can't people get growlers from our place and take them?
That's a good question.
And I know you probably don't know the answer.
No, I don't.
It's a funny situation where I can go to Mayflower Brewery, sit at the bar, and have a drink.
And we've actually talked about this before.
Get a 6-pack on the way up.
We've chatted about this in the past, and I don't know exactly what it is, and I think that's more of a state thing.
Yeah,
I think it's more of a state thing.
Pennsylvania, you got to go to a bar. You got to go to a bar to get a 6-pack.
Yeah, Pennsylvania, you need to go to the bar to buy beer.
It's a state craziness.
And yeah, I think it's more of a state thing. But so say, for me, in my mind, when I think about if you guys were going to do something like that, and I'm not saying it couldn't be a lucrative business for you guys. I think most of the time when people would want to do that, it would be one of your most like limited kegs that you got from 6 states over, and so say you get your founder's KBS and something. That's when you would get flooded with growler fills and stuff.
We would,
would you really even want to do that at that point?
Exactly. So you get somebody that comes in and has 4 or 5 beers.
In terms of lucrativeness,
you have a guy that comes in and has 4 or 5 beers.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, it's time to leave.
Right.
And they say, okay, I'll get a 6-pack for the road.
Yep.
Do you really want to give them a 6-pack for the road?
No.
Yeah.
And also,
no.
well, the responsibility.
We don't, but they can do it at Mayflower.
Well, the responsibility, they can, but they don't have to.
But they do.
The responsibility, too,
of, like you just said, like where you have to judge whether you can send someone off on the road with a 6-pack. And then, like the point Jimmy just made, the exclusivity of what we have on draft. So they basically have to be able to sell everything they have. I know there's a couple beers you put up and you're like, no growler fills.
Yeah, we definitely have some limited stuff we won't fill.
But us, if we had the ability to do that, I say us, I mean Karl, New World Tavern, Dan BBC, where if we were able to do growler fills, like those kegs that we were like, so then we have to be like, oh no, sorry, you can't get a growler fill of this one too. Which
we do too,
yeah.
But
so I guess I want to point that question to all our listeners out there in other states that you can do a growler fill at the bar. How does that work for you? Right. You should email us at
Bar Talkcast at Twitter, or Bar Talkcast on Facebook, or at Gmail.
Yeah.
And let us know how that works in other states, because Massachusetts you cannot leave with any alcohol off premise.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're a bar out there that people can get a growler on the way home, does it help you? Does it hurt you? Let us know.
Right.
It's an interesting point.
Thing, right?
And I know for a long time, like breweries, we couldn't even serve full beers in Massachusetts. I think it's only been 5 years. Yeah. That Mayflower's had a license to be able to do fresh pints straight out of the brewery, and
would you
before
and
that,
Jay be friends if you couldn't?
I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think
I'm like 29 years older than he is.
Right.
Something
That's
some quick math, but yeah.
No, it's just
the fact that he pours a really good pint out of
beer is community.
He doesn't point
That's the whole thing.
It's an okay pint. I mean, Sarah's.
I said pretty good.
She pours a really good.
You think Sarah pours a
alright?
Jimmy goes like
B
this.
plus. Pints off.
Sarah's been on a laugh track for our podcast before when we interviewed Dan Mahoney and Jeff Nardone of Mayflower.
Yeah.
Mayflower.
I heard that one. I listened to that
Is she your assistant or is it vice versa?
I'm sure you heard them all, Jim.
Vice versa. I think we worked together more than anything. You know, she took me
Top
on.
shelf.
I used to lug kegs for Mayflower once upon a time. I was a delivery driver. That's how I got my foot in the door. I also used to work at Bradford's Liquors in Plymouth. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out.
That's my
where I
real.
actually first
That's
met Jimmy.
yeah, for real. That's
He
my
was a
real
sad
home.
ass
I was a 100%.
No, let's talk
My
Bradford
long-
Liquors
yeah.
because we've interviewed Tatum from CBC before.
We can talk Bradford's, man, because I'm telling you, yeah, we can talk Bradford's. So Bradford's is one of the oldest buildings in Plymouth in general. It's been everything from like a gun shop to a library to now a liquor store, and it's owned by local people. My old teacher from South, Tom Heslin, who ended up hiring me out of high school when he was my teacher. I worked there for off and on through college and everything for like, I think it turned into like 6 years or something. I worked there at least part-time. This being my first year, I haven't actually had at least one shift there. So that was like my second home, you know what I mean? It's where I ended up growing to love Mayflower, the company I work for now. I ended up meeting some people that worked there and got my foot in the door through working as a delivery driver and, you know, lugging kegs through Boston and stuff. And then, you know, I ended up getting this gig as running the Taproom once we remodeled, and it's been fantastic ever since.
Why do you think they chose you?
Man, I have no idea. I hope
Nobody else applied?
I hope they don't regret it. No, I pulled a lot of extra shifts in the Taproom and stuff, and everyone seemed to really, you know, enjoy the work I was doing in there, and I tried to be as personal as possible as I could with people, and man, I just support the brand in general. Like, before I even worked there, like I wouldn't work for this company if I didn't think they made great freaking beer.
I will say this.
And I'm a Plymouth guy.
Well, I think you hit on the two things that makes
there, but
a bartender really important. One is personality and then how they jive with the customers.
Right.
Because you
for sure.
you could be the best bartender in the world and not get along with your customers,
Yep.
then nobody's going to come to see you.
But and also,
And if you believe in your product, that's a huge benefit to it.
100%. I was about to say, just a real quick aside, I was driving home from Speedwell the other day, like 4 days ago, and I see this guy walking down the street by himself in 90-degree weather
All right.
with a suitcase
Yeah,
from Mayflower Golden Ale under his arm. And I'm like, dude, could you be more of a fucking homer, dude?
Listen.
Like I beat the wave, and then he's like holding up this like 12-pack of Mayflower Golden Ale that he got from the gas station down the street.
No.
Well, where you were? Where the hell did you get that?
From my house. That's right there.
You walked down.
I live
Where were you bringing
downtown.
it to then?
I live right there next to the gas station.
Jimmy's as real as the
So
streets.
why were you walking down the street?
I was going to my buddy's house to go.
He's going to get laid.
I was not going to get laid.
I want to know
Jake.
more
He's
about
going to get
this.
fucking
I wish
laid.
I was going to get
He was
laid.
going-
Maybe he was pregnant for some.
He was bringing the
I
company
was-
juice.
I was not. It had nothing to do with marijuana.
Oh, it's legal now.
Do
You
not-
can't say it like
Do
that.
not associate
No,
that
you
with
can trade
Mayflower,
it. It's
Karl.
legal.
Fucking fuck you, it's legal, man. You grow 12 plants in your house, it's legal.
4.
You
Here
what?
he goes.
I was busting it.
Here he goes, dude.
You know,
Here he
I was
goes.
so quiet for so long.
Yeah, I know. You had to break it out. Had to break it out eventually.
Yes.
Jake.
That's a nice jacket, by the way.
However, like I work at Speedwell. Like I don't walk down the
Yeah.
fucking street with chicken wings under my arm. You go straight
I've
down.
seen
You
you walk
should
down the
do.
street with
You
chicken wings
should
under
do.
your arm.
It's good
I
advertising, man.
most of the time. I do. All right, never mind. I'm just trying to make a point.
You show the
That
people
was
what's
some
going on.
farm
You
fresh
fucking
eggs
wear
he was
the
walking
brand.
with, I'll tell you right now.
You wear the brand. You
No,
absolutely wear the
I'm
brand.
like wearing full Mayflower
Yeah, you
gear
guys are
today.
like the whole
For
time.
real, yeah. I got the new hats and stuff.
Well, if you haven't been on a Jimmy tour,
You know we're not on TV, right?
That's why I'm saying it. So that people can.
So what kind of
Kinda,
brainwashing like hiring
yeah.
video they have you watching?
Oh, it's horrible. You don't
All right, Jim,
Yeah.
we're putting you on the spot right now. You
Go
ready?
Go for it.
Favorite beer?
Favorite beer? I get asked that almost every shift of my life.
Right,
If
so
you're
quick answer on this
are
thing.
you talking about
Go to your head,
favorite
motherfucker. What's your favorite
Mayflower
beer?
beer?
No, in the
Or
world.
favorite beer in general?
I'm saying right now it better be Mayflower, but go ahead.
Doesn't have to be.
Doesn't matter.
Oh
They don't pay
man.
you that much, dog. You can say anything.
You never know.
It's,
You never know if Drew's listening.
It's true. He's got a nice rental. So
I'm pretty sure
I'm gonna go with good old fashioned PBR.
Oh.
No,
You know what?
I was hoping you were going to say Miller High Life.
I'm just joshing.
Really?
High
Because
Life's
that was going to be a whole nother conversation.
High Life's like
Right
number
now.
2. No, I'm kidding. I honestly, Karl, I couldn't choose a favorite beer. I have a lot of, my beer taste is so seasonal and so like mood based, and I say that because, you know, people walk into Mayflower or walk into like a brewery, and I don't know if it's they don't know what they want or they like kind of want me to like tell them what they want, but almost 9 times like they're like, what's your favorite? Like, just give me whatever your favorite is. And I was like, I don't have a favorite beer that we make. I'm not to declare any single one as my number one, because I think they all have their own. I think they all have their own like special like thing to them, and they're all situational. And
Well, I couldn't agree 100%.
It's whatever you're in the mood for, or whatever your preference
Jordan and
is.
the same thing.
Yeah.
When people walk into your place and they say, "Well, what's your favorite on tap?"
It's whatever I'm trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
But I tell you what,
Yeah,
it does
you
change.
could go down that road.
It does change. It
but
changes with the seasons.
it
It changes
changes-
with the beers that come out.
So
there really is no good answer on that.
I'm well aware with like our beers, so I get pretty hooked when we come out with something new. I'll definitely have like a thing for that for a while, but for the most part, I change all the time, and I'll all of a sudden go back to a beer of ours that I haven't had in a while, and I'll be like, oh my god, this is so just like refreshing, because it's been a while and I haven't come back to it. But there's a special
What's
place.
an example of that?
Example of that.
Specifically, like talking about the beers, like
I guess Golden Ale. I took Golden off for a bit, and you saw me with the 12-pack of Golden Ale walking down the street the other
Sure,
day.
I did.
I took it off a bit. You know, it was the winter time and stuff, and all of a sudden the summer hit. It was like 95 degrees out, and I was like, okay, I need something a little lighter that's gonna get me through the 3rd and 4th of July, and then I hit the Golden Ale for a couple days, and it was great.
What were you drinking in the winter?
Appreciated the winter. I mean, porter. You can never go wrong with porter. Porter and oatmeal stout. Our winter seasonal has a special place in my heart that, like, literally, man, every year it comes out and I just drink nothing but oatmeal stout. For like,
What is it about the oatmeal stout that's so nostalgic about you? Like,
dude, it's like,
so someone who's never had an oatmeal stout from
You know-
Mayflower.
You know what I like about our oatmeal stout is it's a 5. I think it's either 5% or 5.4, and that's ridiculous that I'm like dead set on both of those. But I think I'm gonna say 5.4% alcohol, so it's a lighter drinking stout. That's not, and I'm not knocking this at all, but it's not like bourbon barrel aged and drowned in coffee and vanilla and all this other, like, you know, extra stuff.
Hipster hoo-ha.
Hipster hoo-ha, whatever. No, it's a lighter, it's still a stout, but it's a lighter drinking stout that you can have several of and not get overwhelmed on 12-13% alcohol.
Right.
And bourbon barrel aged and like this brutal, which like I love those every now and again too. I'll get behind that, but it's a lighter. It's a 5.5% alcohol stout. You can have 3 or 4 of them and be totally fine, which is
It's only available in the winter, though, right?
It's only available in the winter.
So
But the porter's year round though. Porter's year round, which is like dark and roasty. Actually, it's our highest rated beer for sure. We were ranked in the top 10 from Beer Advocate, if you know what that is, for almost like, I think it's like 8 or 10 years running or something like that.
So Beer Advocate is one of 2 like really popular websites. Basically, the
Pretty big
standard
rating
for
beer company.
correct.
And
Yeah. So
for English style porters, we've been up there for a number of years.
top 10.
As far as I know, I believe we're still in the top 10. Yeah.
You should be.
Oh, for sure. It's people.
But you weren't only in the top 10, you were in the top 2 or 3. There for a while.
At one point, I believe we were number 1.
I remember when you won that.
Yeah, I would like to.
At one point, I believe we got a gold medal for it. So it's.
I would like to know what would trump Mayflower Porter, and I'm not about to start and say I'm a porter.
Yo, is this a Trump
There's not that
conversation?
many out
It's a
there.
chunk conversation.
Yeah.
No,
There's not many Mayflower porters. I mean, not Mayflower. Not many craft made porters out there. So I know Fuller's London Pride is like basically.
Well, the other thing is you don't see a lot of traditional porters out there that aren't have additives like coffee
Right.
and vanilla
You got
and
coconut
chocolate
porter,
and
you got
coconut
everything
and
else.
whatever. We do a traditional English porter. It's nothing but, you know, all the essential ingredients of beer, and it's traditional, but it's fantastic. It's one of the beers that people ask about from when they're out of state and they come in. Because you look us up online or something, that's something that comes up. And it's not the most popular style of beer out there right now. You know, IPAs freaking dominate this current beer market as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you know, that's a great segue into what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
For the last 3-4 years, it's been IPAs, whether it's in the first it came out, how hoppy can you be and how high test can you be. And then it was the session IPA.
Yeah.
Now it's the New England style.
The soft,
hazy,
the soft, citrusy, hazy IPAs.
What is
super popular.
the future of beer at Mayflower Brewery? What's the next big beer coming out?
So I know you, Karl, are personally aware of the brand and what we've had out for beers in the past, and we had like our four core beers: Golden Porter IPA and then Pale, which did us really well for a number of years. But we've had a lot of new styles coming out. We've had some doubles. You got Evolupulin, which is our double IPA that's always changing. We do a different hop profile on every batch that we brew. We also have 398, which we're doing as a lead-up series to the Plymouth 400 year anniversary. We're going to have 398, 399, and 400. This current one is a double IPA. As to whether they're all going to be double IPAs, I'm not going to 100% release that, but we have a super new, and I wouldn't 100% call it New England style, but it is a very hop-forward, soft, citrusy IPA that has been really popular so far, and every freaking time we brew it, we sell out of it almost instantly, which is not, like, you know, it is always crazy sometimes seeing, you know, you brew an entire batch of beer and it just disappearing in a matter of days a lot faster than you kind of expect. It's always a good feeling walking in the cooler, and it's one thing. It's like, so for me in the tap room, I'm like, oh, we're sold out, and I like can't give some to like my personal customers that I know. But it's also a good feeling being like, you know, it's out in the market, and obviously the stores and bars all ate that up in a matter of like seconds. You know? Yeah, so it's a love-hate thing, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, damn, I want to sell this guy a 4-pack, but
now I know we've had this conversation with you.
Yeah.
With many people in Mayflower Brewing. But I gotta ask you, what is the beer that you would say, I'll never do?
What, the beer that we'll never brew as a company?
Correct.
Or the beer that...
The beer that you think you should never do.
Oh, man.
Is there one? Pumpkin beer.
Yeah, I guess probably pumpkin beer. I guess.
Pastry stouts.
Yeah.
Blueberry.
Something like that. Yeah, we don't brew any beer with like extract flavorings currently, and I guess that's what we would try and avoid, whether it's a pumpkin or blueberry or whatever nonsense stuff like that is. Not that people don't love that stuff, but
What about brewing with
Pornhub.
Jake Hill's bread?
No. That's actually a possibility. But what about brewing with something that nobody's ever brewed before, like maybe like a painting off the wall?
Painting off the wall. I don't know.
Oh no, they
Or just a
brewed
dream,
with cat shit. They
a
brewed
dream
with
that a baby had. Can you do that?
Brew with a
brewed
ton of
sweat
stuff.
off like people's brows. Like, I do this crazy shit.
That happens.
Yeah.
You know, it's a hot process.
But that's not really Mayflower style though.
No, we do a lot of traditional English style beers, but we also have a lot of modern American style beers. Like,
Well, I think one of the best styles you guys do that not everyone talks about is the cask ales you guys have.
yeah, so we do a lot of traditional. We have a really good cask program actually that we only sell locally. You can pretty much only get it in mass, but it's not a common thing in America.
No, what is it? And explain to our 13 listeners on what exactly a cask is.
So a cask.
What is cask beer?
A cask beer is essentially mimicked after the old traditional style of serving beer before refrigeration. So essentially, we pull beer from the fermenter early. We pull beer from the fermenter early. We store it in basically a metal cylinder cask. It almost looks like a small keg. Seal it up, pitch it with its own sugar and yeast. So it essentially acts like a little fermenter. Serve it at room temp with different additives. Like you can do different dry hoppings and such during it, but also we've put like oak chips and cocoa nibs inside a porter and stuff, and made a bunch of different. It gives you a little free play, you know what I mean? You can put like small ingredients of stuff inside of a cask and make it do. We usually do one almost every Friday at the brewery if you ever want to stop in. And we've done
Karl places, you'll regret it.
Yeah, but we've done everything from like our Belgian summer ale with like ginger and stuff inside of it to like porter with oak chips and coconut. You know, you can play around with it a lot, but it's different. It's kind of a low carbonation drink that's served at room temp, so it's not cold like most people are used to with beer. But it's kind of like a traditional English style thing.
You guys are great with it too, because I know as a company we've gone and brewed a cask with you for just BBCs.
Oh yeah,
I don't make it.
For sure.
Cool, I'm gonna tell you to buy this beer that I made.
That's community, right? Isn't that's the beautiful thing about a brewery is the
Yep.
community it creates.
Yeah.
In so many ways, other than the tap room, it's like that is so sweet. You know what I mean? Somewhere that has so much influence. It's like you can influence the course of the beer as opposed to like this macro brewery. There's no room for any mess up.
And that's what our salespeople do a lot. Is like if they have a personal connection with accounts, especially our local guys like Karl and Dan. If there's something specific you want to kind of try with a cask, like we can gives us wiggle room. You know what I mean? We can kind of do it.
Well, I think that's the bonus for us being in Plymouth.
Yeah.
Plymouth breweries is, people are loyal to the local breweries. You know, people can say, "Oh, Mayflower Brewery, they make okay beer," but they're loyal to it because they want to go down to the tap room. When they go to any bar, they even if they go to a bar outside New England and there's Mayflower Brewing on it, that's what they're going to get, and they're going to tell everybody, "Oh, that's from my hometown. That's from my hometown."
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that a local brewery, as much as Mayflower is, they build up their clientele from their backyard first.
Oh, for sure.
So if you sold Mayflower Brewing in California, it's not going to have the same effect as you would in your own backyard. And I think that's where your loyalty comes from.
Yeah.
That's where, in like it or not, that's where the customers are going to come in and say, "You know what you should do. You know what you should do."
Yeah.
That's how you end up with guys.
You get a lot of people from out of town that come in and stop at a place like New World or Speedwell and they see, "Oh, that's like," even I know you guys usually put like Plymouth, Mass on the beer menu, and they're like, "Oh, while I'm here, I might as well try the local beer." And that's me whenever I go on vacation and stop somewhere new. I don't get to go to a lot of breweries around here because I work the brewery schedule through Mayflower. But when I go out of town, man, I always try and check out the local stuff.
Yeah, we're more and more in the last 2 or 3 years getting people in that say, "What's local? What's local? What's your local beer?"
It's beer tourism, and as much as a shitty word as that is, it's like that's happening.
But it's true that
people's
people
consciousness
want
are changing.
People want what they can't get, and they can't get this anywhere else. They can only get.
They want fresh shit too.
It's
man.
also
like fucking
freshness
old
and-
beer sucks.
Exactly.
It's
It's taste and its place, and like these are things that can be easily translated in beer,
Right.
and that can be translated in seasonal food and beer, and that's about it.
Right.
And then like photographs or some other art medium. It's like, but this is where we're at, and people are starting to really fucking care about it. It's beautiful.
The standard for fucking beer for the longest time, especially in the IPA world, was the West Coast. West Coast. Well, we didn't realize.
So long. It's crazy.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like I still enjoy a West Coast IPA, man. I'll drink the shit out of some Ballast Point, but like we never considered, because maybe on the East Coast with that style, we never considered that maybe what about the freight time on that beer, and what about and then when New England breweries started picking it up and getting accustomed to the style and maybe caught up and maybe got a little bit away from the English style, like New England became the hub of the trendsetter of IPAs now, and you're seeing that now. And again, say what you want about New England style IPAs, but fresh is key, and that's bottom line.
If you're in New England, Why would you want to drink a beer that comes from across the country when you can get that same style or better?
I mean, people do it all the time still. I mean, the entire domestic beer market is not focused on local production at all, and that's still 60% of the beer market.
Domestic,
Correct. I guess, but that's still
what about craft,
still the beer market.
Yeah,
and even people in the craft market, they strive for these like breweries from way out of state that are like well known. I mean, even just if I guess it's local still, but like Vermont to Massachusetts, like how much respect does Vermont have in the beer industry from people in Massachusetts?
Okay, so I was thinking more West Coast, but you make a good point.
Much more drastic.
As a guy that's super local.
There's another point too, though. Like it's also creating these pockets of highly like educated or like highly forward-thinking people that are now making crazy beers in Iowa and in Kansas, and in Texas.
Crazy
in the U.S.
That is now maybe the most popular and coveted. They could sell these beers on the secondary market for $100 a can.
Right. I think
this is from a town literally in the middle of nowhere, and has always been considered that. That to me is amazingly liberating for those people that live there.
Absolutely, and
that's information.
The best statistic that I've seen as far as the beer industry is concerned is that there were like 6,000 fucking breweries in the United States before Prohibition, and then Prohibition happened, right?
Yeah.
And
but you can't say that because they couldn't distribute without refrigeration back then.
No, I understand.
So there's a big
but there were,
what we can do now.
But understandable. But let's bring it back in tight. Is there were 6,000 breweries before Prohibition?
Right.
No matter what. We could talk refrigeration.
But they were all locals.
But exactly.
Right.
So now we have refrigeration, right?
That's all you had.
And this is the closest I think the United States has been to having that many breweries since before Prohibition.
That's crazy.
With refrigeration. What is the reason behind that besides convenience? I mean, it's freshness, it's quality, it's loyalty, it's pride, it's all those things.
It's all the things that have always worked, but then I think it's freshness.
Right. Yeah, freshness is key.
Hop forward beer, it's like it can only exist if you have it within.
I half agree with you, Jake, because what about putting a face to the person that's making it for you too?
Or a style, or
a
vibe.
Would I rather eat a frozen pizza or get it delivered by the guy that I know is stretching the dough himself down the street?
Well, those guys
just speaking a little bacon shit.
No,
you know what I mean?
I know.
So I think that has a lot to do with it as well. Is the culture is sort of shifting now, not just in the food end, but on the beer end, I think too, and that's not to cheapen it, but beer is the easiest thing to sort of quick and easy. It's ready to go. You're not mixing anything. You don't have to cook anything. You pour it from a draft or you drink it from a bottle and it's ready to go, and it's made locally and fresh. And we are, like Jimmy was saying, with Mayflower.
Fresh beers are local beers and local beers are fresh.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Mayflower. There you go. Right, absolutely.
Honestly, you're not talking about like a fucking, taking on the establishment thing. It's just better for the community.
It is.
If you have a successful business in your community where people are making a good or better than low wage, that's awesome. That's a good thing.
We're all fighting the same fight.
Yeah.
We're bringing
can't be done by Amazon. And eventually they're going to try to do that. But fuck that.
I still buy
Doesn't
it from
even
Amazon.
Of course, dude.
Love Amazon. Love that shit.
Don't knock it.
But we're talking about like culture. You can't buy fucking culture from Amazon.
Right.
No,
You can't buy friends.
100%.
You can't buy fucking good
You can't buy
times.
friends?
Not yet.
No,
Sorry,
no.
guys.
I'm pretty sure I bought one.
Dan Mahoney.
That's
I
why.
am for sale.
Alright, first of all, Karl, that's
Oh,
gross. Don't
Jake, I'll get some of that marijuana stuff if you want to be my friend.
Can you buy that on Amazon yet? Can you buy weed on there?
Probably. I don't even know.
I've never tried, but
you said
all my friends sell weed, so I don't really
It's the
care.
same thing, right?
Yeah.
He's got the one-day
get it
shipping.
at Whole Foods.
You buy
regardless.
shampoo and
We don't buy shampoo.
Yeah, all the new
Well,
laws.
that's much like I said.
We buy real poop.
Buy ladybugs.
you were supposed to say something and we just
I get nothing. Jimmy, you do fantastic tours.
Thanks, Dan. I think I brought you on
You
one.
brought me on a
one or
couple.
two
I
couple.
don't know if they're fantastic.
But-
Well, you clearly haven't gone on Jimmy.
I had Sarah. She's
Yeah.
fantastic.
All right. Well, I think they should have a tour off one day.
I tell Karl he's not allowed in the back.
That makes I don't let him
too
do
much
stuff.
That's how his tour goes. Kyle, you're not allowed.
Yeah, Karl, tour's over.
Yeah.
Do you?
Well, he's
Not on the front either.
Yeah.
Karl's handsy. He's like a lot of the 45-year-old guys that I bring out back, and I have to tell him not to touch the industrial fucking equipment and stuff.
Or the
Like-
female employees.
He called me.
Yeah, or the female employees.
He called me 45.
Yeah, 45. No, I said you'll like a lot of 45
See,
year
now
old
you see
guys
why Jake
that I have
loves
to
it.
bring out back. And I'm like, hey, you know, I don't know why your first instinct is to touch that piece of machinery that you don't understand, but don't touch
Shut
that.
the buttons,
And I have no shame doing it in front of like 30 people.
Do you ever get bored of doing the same stick?
Again and again.
Is like
Like, you know, I don't know.
make stuff up.
People are something else sometimes, but for the most part, you know, I put on a decent tour. Public speaking's not my strongest sometimes, but
Surprise
I
us.
do okay.
I think you do pretty good.
I do okay. I do all right.
Now, have you ever gotten
His
bored
name's
of
Jimmy
stick
Stickney.
Because what do I know?
Jimmy
about
Stickney.
stick? Well, you can tell me.
Have I ever what?
Just made stuff up.
Just made stuff up, just off the cuff. I don't know. I mean,
You should.
yeah.
Who's gonna tell you
I
that?
ask a few questions to the choices, Kyle. You just don't understand.
I probably could, but for the most part, I try and you know provide as much factual information as possible. Like if there's like people ask me some crazy stuff sometimes, like who did the welding and stuff, or like who produced this like
So
piece
fuck
of
this
stainless steel, and I'm like I don't know,
That guy
or
was
we'll have
gonna ask,
we'll have
"Wait, do you
plumbers
produce
come in.
stainless steel?" Yes, I do.
Plumbers are some of my favorite because they come in and they're looking at all like, you know, because there's a lot of plumbing that goes on involved with brewing, and they're telling me about it. I'm like, you probably know more about that than I do, so you tell me, you know. But for the moment, you know, I'm not. If there's ever anything anyone really asks me, I don't know. I'm not gonna act like I freaking know everything. You know, and I'm like, you know, I'll get back to you.
You know, you've had a lot of events down there at the Mayflower.
Yeah.
And you've worked a lot of events.
Yeah, definitely.
In your opinion, what events are the most fun for you?
The ones I'm at, right?
Yeah, it's whenever Dan comes by. Most fun events for me, I really like when we have live music. I've been trying to push that more and more. And
Is that because you have a big crush on Jake Hill?
more bands in. Yeah, I just kind of want Jake to hang out as much as possible.
What about the dog
He doesn't
event?
Sorry.
anywhere
He
else
likes
but
the
there.
dog event.
He's just here.
Yeah, the pet adoption. We've done a few pet adoptions in the past with Survivor Tales Rescue.
You've done what?
Pet adoptions. So we do dog adoptions.
Tell me how that works.
So essentially, Survivor Tales Rescue will come in. We'll do a full fundraiser for the day. Every pint of beer we sell, we donate a dollar towards Survivor Tales Rescue. And
So if
they,
I
and
bring
they
my
agree.
dog down there,
No,
somebody
we
else will
actually
take it, I get a dollar off my beer.
Karl, no. We actually ask that people leave their personal pets at home for the day, compared to where we're normally dog friendly, just to make the adoptable dogs a little more comfortable for the day, because it's usually
adopting meaning you're adopting, not giving it up for adoption.
no, it's a shelter that has dogs that are up for adoption, and you can come and meet them personally. You know, pet the dog, whatever, meet them. You can't just leave with the dog that day. You can
I tried. You said
You
no.
can
Listen, my
fill
kid
out an
asked me to
application,
get
and
a dog once, and I said, "Not yet."
if they approve you as they think you're like a normal human being, you can adopt the dog if you have a stable
Probably
household
not qualified.
and all that stuff.
That's all right.
Karl,
Take that night off.
you might get denied, but you can try.
Like I need another bitch in my household.
Oh my god, yeah.
I'm so glad Jen does not listen to this. Jesus Christ. And he was not drinking out of a fucking fishbowl this
She
time.
probably tried, but she's like, I listen to Karl enough.
I'm fucking uncomfortable over here. You okay with that?
Okay, at least you're on the other side of the room.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. I love
He's
you,
gonna
Karl.
defend
I didn't
us.
mean
I was
that.
talking about
I
me.
was kind of.
Last call!
Wow.
Oh, it was the last call already?
Holy shit.
I keep going.
All right, last
I got
call.
plenty.
That was a fun round,
Plenty.
everybody. We're going to go around the room from left center to right.
Why do I always have to go first?
I'll
Nothing
start.
to
I'll
say.
start. You go last, Dan.
Jake, why don't you
On
start?
that last call, shout out to Mayflower Brewery for being a great community place for our community, filled with beautiful people, including my friend Jimmy, who's always like, yo, what's up, dog?
Yeah.
And he showed me like what the cool punk bands are.
Hell yeah.
And that's why I keep going back and I get my vegetables there and my girl works there. Thank you. Shout out.
That's so fucking good. How do you follow that?
This could be a commercial.
Just fucking drop the podcast, Mike. Sorry, I get Jimmy.
I'll go next.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, I guess so.
Go for
I
it.
want to thank our guests, Jimmy and Jake.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Very nice conversation. We have a lot of guests on here that really don't know what to say, what to do, but you guys are very smooth, except for Jake. And no, we really appreciate you guys coming on. And thank you for everybody.
I mean, I guess I'll go now. I'm not first. So also thank you, everyone. Thank you, Andy Fish. Thank you, Pins, for letting us hang out in this cool room. It's literally freezing in here. It's awesome. It's about 90 degrees outside. You guys are awesome. Some great stories. And also thank you for taking me on many tours and beer adventures, both with Jake and Jimmy.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. All right, I guess I'm next up, and then we'll throw it over to Jimmy. But yeah, again, just want to thank the guests. I will thank the guests for being here. But I agree with Dan. I thank Pins for having us again. It's a great room to record in. The acoustics are awesome. Jake Hill, thanks for being here. Jimmy Stickney, man, the myth, the legend, always at the tap house at Mayflower. Like, seriously, you're there every fucking day.
No, I'm there all hours we're open, so
Yeah,
you
you're
really
there
can't.
every
You
day.
really can't avoid me.
But thank you for being here.
You can try all you want, Karl.
Good stuff. You can check. You can actually get Mayflower on draft at all three of our places as well.
Yes, yeah, almost
so
always. You guys take very good care of us, for
yeah,
sure.
Pretty much all the time. But yeah,
Support.
throw it over to Jimmy. Send it off, kid.
Yeah. I mean, last call. I mean, if you never have been to Mayflower, you should definitely stop in the new tap room. Like I said, we remodeled about a year ago. If you've never been to one of any of fine establishments here in Plymouth, Plymouth's becoming a bit of a destination point when it comes to craft beer in general. We got a ton of new breweries in Plymouth, including Second Wind, Independent Fermentations, Plymouth Beer Company, even Dirty Water Distillery. So you can definitely make your way down here and have a hell of a day here in Plymouth if you make the day out of it. We've been doing a beer garden in Plymouth Center, actually downtown Plymouth at the Mayflower Society. Has from 4 to 9 on most Thursdays throughout this summer. So you can come and check that out. Grab a great bite to eat. We got a ton of good restaurants here in Plymouth, but you can also always come and see me at the tap room and have a tour on Saturdays and Sundays as well.
Yes, I'm done, dude.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. As always, this has been the Bar Talk Podcast. Sorry, it's not focus group.
Support group.
Support group. Thank you.
Support group.
I will get that right one day. Your South Shore, Massachusetts focus group, hospitality focus group, but for everybody across, you can find us at Bar Talk Cast on Twitter and Facebook. I'd like to thank, as always, Inebriat for producing this. Andy and Fish, thank you very much. You've been listening to Bar Talk Cast. Check you next time. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Don't forget to check out our other podcasts. There's the Bar Talk Podcast. There's Old Colony Cast. And, of course, the Inebriat Podcast along with Jam Packed. You can find all those on Stitcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, pretty much anywhere podcasts are found. If you're on some sort of service and you can't find it, let us know, and we'll help you out and or add our podcast to that too. You can contact us at inebriart@yahoo.com and follow us on Facebook as well as Twitter at inebriart. And feel free to send us some tips, ideas, advice, hate mail, whatever it is, you can get us there. And again, thanks for listening.